It's a great day. My name is Che Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission at the end of the day is provide you, that's right, you, the hard-working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Sharyn Combs. She's in the building, and she'll be talking about navigating change and getting confidence and clarity as you're stepping into uncertainty, which sounds like an oxymoron, but let's see what that's about. What's going on, Sharyn? How you doing?
I am well. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me today. And I am, as the Obamas would say, fired up and ready to go.
Well, thank you for being here. And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way. We know you have a lot of choices and you choose to be with us right now. So thank you so much. We appreciate it, especially during these times. You know, you talk about navigating change. And before we get into your backstory, your background, and how famous you are all over the world, there's some folks that are listening and saying, navigating change? Shay, first of all, why are people even struggling to go through a change? Now, you can, ladies and gentlemen, she can handle this. I'm gonna ask her to talk to two type of groups if she can. First, there's some of you who run organizations inside of companies or inside the government, and well, there's some change going on. And then there's other of you who are entrepreneurs. There's some change going on. So can you talk to each of those two groups and talk about navigating change and why people struggle with it so much?
Absolutely. Okay, so with navigating change, change is inevitable. So we have to be able to navigate it. And that's why it is a benefit to be able to navigate it, because some people wait until the end to change where there's no choice. Their back is against the wall, and now their options are limited in how they navigate that change. But if we would learn the stages and the phases of change, then we could just deal with them as the phase, not as something personal, not as the world or the sky is falling. So everybody needs to know how to navigate change because change is inevitable. Now, for people who don't control the changes that are happening, you have to be able to navigate it because it's still there and you're still going to have to navigate it. So why not? Why not learn what the change is? Why not identify the aspects of the change that can help you or maybe that can hurt you? For entrepreneurs, if you're an entrepreneur for more than a year, you know it's nothing but change. It's nothing but change. That's why you want to use systems and have systems in place that can operate so that you can navigate change. Now, you'd ask me why would people have a problem with it? And I just want to say when we're born, people tend to go toward things being settled. We like our drama on TV, and change can feel like drama. It can feel like falling. And so people are always wanting to be settled. They're wanting things to be like, okay, that's there. That's going to stay there. But that's not, even though we want that, that's not really how it happens. And so our natural affect is to make things be settled. Be settled. It feels good when it's settled. It feels good right after you clean the house. It feels good right after you clean the car. But the car is going to get dirty again. And so you have to be able to navigate things after they're perfect, if that makes sense to you. Are you with me, Shay?
Yeah, I'm with
After,
you.
we have an ideal and we say, when it's this, then this. But even when it's this, there's something that's going to come along and change that this again. That's just growth. I'll stop there and let you ask a different question. And hopefully, if someone has a question, they'll put it in the chat or something and we can take it a little further. But yeah, our natural
Absolutely.
inclination.
Absolutely. And I'd like for you to, if you can, we have some folks on here who are leaders and they may be thinking, okay, I'm good with change, Sharon. I'm good with it. Now, we'll get into her background, ladies and gentlemen, in a moment. And they're like, but does she have one or two or maybe three suggestions? Because I lead an organization. Like, okay, the change came down from the top. I'm okay with dealing with change, but how would she suggest, Shay, that I deal with change that I've now got to communicate and lead an organization with? So we're going to talk to the leaders. For all the entrepreneurs, you step to the side because some of you got to do the same thing. Some of you are leading folks who are contractors. Let's call them 1099s. Some of you are leading folks who don't work directly for you, and you've got to communicate. So it's an unfair question, really, because some of you are seasoned and some of you aren't, but she'll do her best. So do you have two or three ideas you can share for someone that has to manage a group or organization?
Yes, absolutely. If you're in management or you are a leader of an organization and a change has been in place, first things first, I want you to know once that change is in place, how you feel about that change is no longer helpful to your team. Because maybe you don't personally like the change, and then you communicate that to the people you oversee, or even to your horizontal, lateral relationships. What you're doing there is you're undermining the change that you are going to have to implement. So whether you are in agreement or not in agreement with a change that is in place and made already, whether it was your decision or not, please know that how you feel about it is no longer relevant to the people who are serving and who you are serving, like to the people who directly report to you. So the first thing I would say there is, if you don't like the change, there's no need in you sharing that with your direct reports. There's absolutely nothing they can do about it except carry a weight that you as the leader are to carry. So you want to shelter them. You want to get to a place now, no longer relevant. Don't share it with your direct reports if you don't like it. I'm sorry. That's what you want to share with your upline or with your support structure away from that organization. The second thing I would share with you is really understand the change. Understand the change. Understand the change. What aspects of your organization is it going to hit? Is it going to change some of your direct reports, their roles and what they do, their deliverables? Fully understand the change as much as you can, as it depends on you, and then communicate from that space. Apart from your personal feelings, communicate from that space so that your team can be in the best position to implement the change, to get used to the change, to understand the change, and to be really behind the change. And the last thing I would say is choose your language well. Choose your language, because language can tell on you. You can say, well, I didn't tell them I didn't want the change, but your language, even your body language, choose your language well so that you can lead these individuals. These individuals are trusting you, even if they don't trust the organization. Hopefully, you have a relationship to where they trust you. They trust your credibility, they trust your honesty, they trust your integrity, they trust that you are considering them even as you're leading and not solely yourself. So I would say choose your language. Choose words that move people forward. Choose words that instill hope, not falseness, but hope. This is where we are going. Use inclusive language. Please don't say, well, this is what they said we had to do. No, because you are a part of they. This is what we're doing. This is what we're working toward. This is what we are going to accomplish. Those will be three things, Shay, that I would say right off the bat for those who are leading. If I can, Shay, let me add one bonus. For those of you who are
Sure.
not on board with the change, please find out what you're not on board with. Are you not on board because this may be heavy or harder for you to carry out? Are you not on board because you just don't think it's a good idea? Find out what you're actually not on board with, because that will help you. It has nothing to do with the organization. It would just help you. So that's
I love
it.
that. That's some timely advice, by the way. And change happens, especially if you woke up this morning, something's probably changed today. Even if
Come
it's
on.
inside your own body, things do change. They're listening to you and thinking, I like what I'm hearing. It makes sense, Shay. However, I don't even know this person. I mean, some of you are cooking right now. You might be listening to the podcast. We appreciate you. We're in your ears right now. That's kind of cool. Some of you got to just playing in the background, say, hey, I like to tune in. And this topic really caught my attention, but I didn't have time to read her bio, Shay. I have not been to her website. I don't know who she is or her backstory. I think that's fair. I think it's reasonable. So take a moment, if you would, Sharyn, and give us, what's the backstory, which is who are you? And then what was that defining moment that led you to step up and work with leaders and work with organizations and talk about change and confidence and clarity and all the wonderful things you're doing these days?
All right. Well, my name is Sharyn Combs, and at the end of the day, I'm probably someone who's bumped their head more than they should, but also had way more wins than I should have too. And so I've always been in leadership. Even when serving at restaurants, I would end up doing train the trainers, like leading and facilitating. And I'm a lifelong learner. So not only do I want to grow, I want to help other people grow. Now, I will get into my initials. I am an author, I am a publisher, I am a speaker, I am a nationwide conference speaker. I've spoken to groups of two, and I've spoken on main stage in Vegas. And one of the things I recognized early on is change is inevitable, and we all have influence. And so I believe in intentionality with our influence. everything that I do, everything that I build, I want to help people keep what they work for and be intentional with their influence. And so one of the things that helps with that is knowing emotional intelligence and mastering transition. And so I don't know too many things. I've just grown, Shay. I've grown. And I love what I get to do. I help other people increase visibility, but it's always going to be about the message, being intentional with your influence, and having emotional intelligence. That's that's about as much as I can
Well, as
say
you were
about
saying that, and you can hear the passion coming out. Sorry to cut you off. And she's so passionate, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah.
Emotional intelligence means different things to different people. Take a moment, step back, and kind of tell us your view of the world. What is emotional intelligence, and why is it more important today than ever before?
Oh, emotional intelligence is not just being aware of your emotions and what I call triggers, but also kind of being aware of how other people operate emotionally. And the reason it's so important is because no matter what you do, whether it's in a technical field, a social field, a financial field, you have to work with people. And people who are unable to regulate their emotions or just accept certain things, well, I was mad, so I did this. Like you think that's if you think that's okay because I was mad, I did it, then that means you're at the mercy of your emotions. And that's not good. So when people can regulate and understand emotional intelligence, I'm telling you, they can move things. They can shift things. They can choose when to speak, when not to speak, what tone to take, what tone not to take, when to recognize that maybe they are internalizing something that's not personal at all. Emotional intelligence is critical for sustained relationships in your field and outside of your field. And so that's what emotional intelligence is to me. It is being aware of when your emotions are going to become either the driver or a main primary influencer of your decisions. And when you really begin to understand it, you can see it in a nice way, guys. Don't take this the wrong way. You can see when talking with others when emotion is beginning to influence and take over. And sometimes you can help people, not be in an unsafe space. A lot of people don't realize when emotions get high, intelligence goes down. I like to use anger to describe this, although anger is not the only emotion it happens in. But when emotions go high, whether it's anger, passion, sometimes even joy, the cognitive and the objective sides of our brain, like they don't, for lack of a better word, they're not getting all the blood that they should. So when people are so mad they can't even see straight, or someone would say, their intelligence level goes down in that time frame. It doesn't mean that you are not intelligent. It just means that intelligence and objectivity, they are not the primary drivers at that time. And so just think if that's at work. Maybe you feel disrespected or overlooked, or in a personal relationship, or maybe one of your team members that you oversee, leaders, is feeling all of these feelings. If you are aware of emotional intelligence, you can help them come out of the space that have them storming out, quitting their job. Like you can help navigate that. You can not hold their feet to the fire when they're just upset. You can diffuse the situation because you have mastered or are learning to master emotional intelligence. It's a lifelong journey, but oh man, it's critical.
Well said. Well stated. And, that's a good segue to a segment we have here called Today is My January 1st. Now, there's some folks that listen saying, man, Sharyn, her life is all together. We're going to find out in a moment. But today is my January 1st.
Right.
For those folks who know what I'm about to do, you can go ahead and say those magical words. Today is my January 1st. Happy New Year to you. Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel good? You've got to be excited. And for all of our new folks who are joining for the very first time, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for allowing us to stream onto your mobile device or your tablet or wherever you are. Today is my January 1st is our personal mantra. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy the past is or how bright and sunny the past is, the past really no longer equals the future. And so the question for Sharyn on the other side, she can always decline if she wants, but the question is, when was the time you had a setback, if there was ever in your life? And how did you bounce back from it? What are some things you did that we can enjoy? But first, before you answer that question, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind? What do you hear?
Fresh start, fresh start. December's over. That year is gone. What can I learn from it and how do I put it in place now? Today is my January 1st. I'm not hostage to anything that happened back then, and I'm not still at any peak that may have been back then. Today, what am I going to do with today? Today is my January 1st. What do I want it to look like? I love stuff like that. Imprinting your day, that's what goes on. When I hear today is my January 1st, I hear imprint my day. What do I want to see today? How will I handle today? Because the future depends on many things, but mainly it's going to depend on me. So, what am I doing today? That's it.
I love it. And what was the time you had a setback, and how did you bounce back? If you ever had one in your life, like I said, maybe her
Oh,
life's been
I
perfect,
did.
ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So you said what was the time I had a setback? Okay, I'm going to say two things, but it'll be less than 2 minutes. Here we go. The first time, because you had asked this earlier, the first time I had a setback, I'd moved to a different state. I'd sold my car because my brother had several, and I assumed he would give me one. And the person I was staying with was leaving. They were leaving. And at that time in my life, I didn't have good credit. I was just like do, living my life like it's golden, but not intentional with what I was doing. And I remember sitting there, and it was like I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have a car. I was just so like, Lord, because I didn't understand why I was surprised by the position I was in. And I remember I was like, God, I did everything. I did everything I know to do. I'm past the ugly tears. I just got the hot burning tears in my throat. And so it was a major setback because it looked like I had nothing. But really, it was my day one. And I remember as I prayed that, I heard the question like, but did you do everything you could do? And I said, I did everything I know to do. And I heard the question again, but did you do everything you could do? And on that second time, I was like, wow, I didn't. I could learn something new. I could use these mental faculties I've been blessed with to learn a new skill, to learn a new skill set, to learn a new approach. Like I could learn something and then try. I could learn from something other than bumping my head. And so that was my first, setback. And I began to grow. I began to make better decisions. And guess what? I got better rewards. I began to be more consistent with the plan, and I began to see better rewards. Now, you said she got it all together. No. Last year I had an experience that I took a whole month to regroup from. And everybody may not have a whole month that they can do that, but that's because I was making better decisions. I was afforded that month. I had something that was very painful. I was like, I've been working doing this thing for 12 years, and it did not pan out the way I thought it would pan out. I hit another bump, another setback on my journey of growth, which didn't have to even do with what I was doing, but what other people perceived about what I was doing. It was so hurtful. I was so disappointed. I felt betrayed. I'm saying these words, but don't let the fact that I'm saying them take away from the pain and the feeling of the ladder being kicked from under me. Like, well, what will I do? All of that stuff was going on. And you know what? Emotional intelligence, learning what I've learned. I said, I can't take this with me into my business meetings. I don't want to bleed on people. So I took time during the holidays to really process and really heal. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? What can I control? What am I concerned about that's out of my control? And what can I control? Am I going to respond or am I going to react? Do I want my lick back or do I want the goals that I set up in the beginning? Like, do I want to get off track because I've had a setback? No, I don't. I want to process the pain, the disappointment, the embarrassment, shame, all of those things. I want to process all that. But I don't want to bleed on that with you, Shay, or with anybody else. I don't want that to filter over into my clients, my customers, the people I'm coaching. So I'm gonna take some time and I'm gonna get some healing on this side of life. I'm realizing healing is important. I'm gonna get it, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look at my plan. What part of my plan is still what I want? And if it's what I want, I'm going to keep moving toward it. You know, I'm not going to ignore or deny the setback. I'm going to address the setback and how I feel about it. And then I'm just going to flip that coin some other kind of way, that Rubik's Cube, a different type of way to say, how do I still get what I want? Entrepreneur or leader? Did my goals actually change because I had a setback? No. So let's go.
Let's
That's
go. I
that's
love it.
that's my approach, and I believe that approach has been a big part of my growth. My faith, definitely. Hey, God, I got to be honest. Hey, I believe in. Hey, faith helps, but yeah, process it. A lot of people stuff it or say that's okay, or they say I'm gonna prove to them. No, I'm not gonna prove to you. I don't even like the fact that you did it. So why would I take on your approach? I'm going to look at what I was trying to do, the people I am helping, the people I coach, the people I am inspiring. I'm going to look at them because they were my goal before that setback occurred. And work it out. We're going to try another approach.
Well said. mean,
Yeah.
very well said. Thanks for being so authentic with us, by the way. One of the questions I like to ask, and we've had time, we have a few minutes now, is what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I'll frame it for the audience, because here's someone you're talking to on the other side. She's read more books than she can remember these days. Probably sure she had countless mentors along this journey. She's done the John Maxwell done things. She's had other mentors. She's like me. 10,000 hours is a joke, right? I mean, she can probably do it on a weekend. At least I can't with my thumb these days, scrolling through videos. Okay, I don't even track how many videos I watch anymore. But if you had to step back and say, here's the best piece of advice I've ever been given, or one of them, Shay, what would it be, and why, that you would pass along to us, the audience?
Should does not fit with people. Emotional intelligence wise, should does not fit with people. Should is better for what do they call, like for equations or what a computer would spit out. But when we begin to put on people our shoulds, SHOULD, then that is a recipe for disappointment and disaster, because we're trying to make somebody else, as the young people say, make it make sense. We're trying to make them fit into what we think something should do, but they're a person, and they may not look at it the same way we look at it, the same way we look at it. So that, to me, that's been something that's really helpful for me, because you have to work with people. And if I'm working with you, Shay, and I feel like there's some shoulds that you're not lining up with, especially if I haven't communicated them, they're just from my zip code when I was raised. That's not fair to you. That's almost like a hidden agenda, and I expect you to conform to it, but you don't even know it's there. So shoulds are not the best things with people. And when I begin to have a conversation where I feel like someone should, and I haven't made those expectations clear to that person, I am putting myself in the relationship with that person, be it business or personal. It's at a deficit now, because I'm expecting them to do something that we haven't even discussed. So that's one piece of advice. Let me say this one. Here's the second one. Um, Listen with your eyes as well as your ears, because no one is exempt. So if I see you or someone else doing something that I really love or that I really don't love, more than likely, if I continue to interact with you, I'm going to get something I really love or something I really don't love. No one is exempt. Businesses may be, but people aren't exempt. Things ebb and flow, things happen, life happens. If that makes, that's what I would like to share with people. Because, Shay, I'm going to ask you a question. I know you didn't ask me to, but even in our audience right now, do you know how many people are still stuck at a certain place in a relationship with someone, or it just cut off or didn't cut off because of something they thought someone should know? They should know it already, but they've never had that conversation. And so
No.
again, to me,
That's all a part of navigating change, as you said, and being confident and having
yeah.
the clarity. That's one of the big things you talk about, is clarity.
Hmm.
What does success look like for you these days? I mean, it changes and has different looks and feels for different folks, but for where you are in life,
Right
what
now,
does success look like, and what does it feel like for you?
success right now looks like purpose, health, and peace. Nothing outside of my purpose should ever disturb my peace. But again, should. I can't hold people to that. But that's what it looks like: purpose, health, and peace. I want to continue to walk in my purpose, help as many people as possible. I'm telling you, I have something where I said I want to help personally like 10,000 people. I want to touch 10,000 people over the course of my life, one on one, not just when I'm speaking to large groups, but one on one. And I haven't hit that number. So I want to continue to hit that number. Peace. I want to have peace. At this age in my life, I know what I want and what I don't want. I know whether I want to work with someone that has integrity or someone that's like, hey, by any means necessary. And so for my audience, if you know that too, operate accordingly. But that's it. When I was younger, I thought it was money. I thought it was money, and I began to get the bag. And I like getting the bag, Shay. I do. But I realized too, there's always a bigger bag. There's always a bigger bag. So I had to ask myself, how much is enough for my standard operating costs? I'm not saying I won't take more, bring it on, but that's what success looks like to me. Being able to walk in my purpose, serve people, really serve people who want to grow, who trying to do better, serve them in that way, and peace, peace.
Yeah, I love the peace part. As we come down the home stretch, two-part question. The first part is, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any? I'm not sure if you're taking on any clients. We'd like to know. And number two, for folks that want to connect with you, they're like, well, where should I go? How should I connect with her? How can I learn more? How can I maybe bring her into my organization? What should they do? Take it away.
Okay. First things first, my name is Sharyn Combs with a Y. You can go to SharynCombs.com. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so you can, if you want to reach out personally, either myself or Alex to get back to you, but you can reach me on LinkedIn. The type of individuals I work with, organizations tend to have more than one site. The organizations do tend to have more than one site. They want to standardize some of their leadership approaches. They want to do maybe a train-the-trainer model so that people who are new in leadership, or there's been a change, like a new CEO, like I said, transition, navigating that. They bring me in to help their team members navigate that without being stuck in the past, without lagging behind. I come in and I help those team members get acclimated to the changes so that they can then lead their teams for changes. The personal individuals who I work with, they're going to be someone maybe in my personal program called Reset, which is a 30-day like quantum leap type program, or I just coach them one-on-one because they want to grow in leadership. They're thinking about maybe getting out of their organization and doing more entrepreneurial things. It's 20, where we are now in the world, most people have second, an advocational income coming in. And so I help them get established in that as well. That's for one-on-one though.
One-on-one. Thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate that. Thanks for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. You're someone I've had a chance to meet in person, by the way. You've always been amazing throughout the years. Some folks only meet through the power of these fiber optic lines, but others I've met. So I'm so good to see you again. Can't wait to connect with you again. Thank you for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you.
And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, we don't have a show, by the way. And never get tired of reminding you, no matter what's going on in your life, whether you're going to that next level of success, whatever that looks like for you, or you've been hit with the punch that you never saw coming, the one thing I believe is that today, as we're talking, is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. We out of here. Thanks a lot, Sharyn Combs. Peace, everybody. We'll see you on the other side.